Very good morning to all of you. It's my proud and privilege to welcome the Chief Guest, Dr. J. Brema, Professor of Civil Engineering, Foreign Technology and Research, Coimbatore, for this video webinar.
Sorry, madam, there is a voice problem.
Our dear ma'am for this webinar. Because meeting is full, she was not able to join. Now she is with us. She is going to deliver web and graph mapping using GIS.
Hello, madam, there is a voice problem.
For this
Participants, ma'am, good morning, ma'am. Sorry, we couldn't able to hear you clearly. Resource from Dr. Prem, ma'am. Kindly mute your then only we can able to get the voice clearly. Thank you, ma'am.
So participants are kind video. So ma'am, so let's start, ma'am.
Now I will invite Mr. Vignesh Kumar, coordinator, to introduce the guest to the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So yeah, very good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all today webinar. So it's immense pleasure to introduce today's resource person. So Dr. J. Brema, ma'am is currently working as a professor in Department of Civil Engineering, Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. So ma'am has an academic background with BTech Civil Engineering, so postgraduate degree in water resources and a doctoral degree in civil engineering with a specialization in water resources. So apart from teaching, she has carried out research work and has published around 109 papers, 109 research papers in national and international journals and conferences. So currently she is guiding 7 doctoral students. She is a fellow of Institution of Engineers, members of Indian Society of Technical Education, member of Indian Water Resource Society, and member of Association of Global Ground Scientists. She is also consultant of hydroecological assessment for integrated management of wetlands granted by GIS and MOEF and CC. She has published a book on a rainfall variation with reference to land use change, Noel Basin, under the Lambert Academic published in the year of 2017. So here areas of research include wetland hydrology, air quality monitoring, and application of remote sensing and GIS in water resources. It's great pleasure to welcome you, ma'am. So kindly, so great pleasure to welcome you, ma'am. So
thank you for the nice introduction and welcome address, ma'am. Is it okay? My voice is audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, thank you. I would like to thank Dr. Muthupriya and the Indian Waterworks Association for conducting such a seminar where I could get an opportunity to meet people with my experience, what I can share. It's a good opportunity. Thank you for all being here. Of course, I apologize for being late a little bit because I could not join in time. Now, as it has been told, my area of specialization is water resources, and I have slowly started working in other areas also, where, of course, we have got a variety of students. The students normally, they prefer different areas using GIS. So I started working on environmental, air quality monitoring, and then little bit of ecological management like that. Okay, with this introduction, I would like to start the lecture. And today I'm concentrating on flood mapping and drought monitoring. Okay, I think I'm slightly not well, but I think I can manage the situation and I can do justice for this lecture. Okay, so I'll just go for the presentation. Is the presentation visible?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So as I have been telling you people, I'm not going into the basic aspects of remote sensing and GIS because we have started studying this from the 1990 onwards in all our subjects. And of course, maybe lab we are not studying, but theory we are studying. I understand that it's a mixed group of what I could see the participants. It's a group of students plus professors. I think maximum would have been students. And before starting itself, I would like to advise the students to concentrate in this area, remote sensing and GIS, which is now in a what I could say is it's booming like anything, and the application is also increasing like anything. Previously, we have been using this application for land use, water resources, environment, and now those who are interested in structures, they also can get into this area because we have started working in BIM and GIS. Those who are working in Revit. Have any control. I have these two things. In as I was telling, cyclones. The reasons for cyclones are not just what is happening in Indian Ocean. It is what is happening in in all the throughout the globe. Like that, I can put it. Okay. So we work on climate also. So when we say there is a sea level, I think recently everybody would have seen there was a mass moving of ice. So this effect is going to happen to us also. Okay. So likewise, it is not a localized problem. So whatever changes it is happening in somewhere in a ocean, it's going to affect us. Okay. So this is a natural process which is not in our control. So non-uniform distribution of water. This is what we are trying to tackle now. Excess water leads to floods, and shortage of water leads to drought. Okay. And all of the students, those who are studying hydrology and water resources, irrigation engineering, would have just met this term hydrologic cycle. So hydrologic cycle is nothing but how water takes different forms. So we cannot say the water can just like that, it can be formed or it can be stored or something like that. It's a natural process and it's a cycle which is again in the hands of the nature. where you can work a little bit and you can concentrate on not degrading it. Okay, so all this, it is related to the Earth's surface, and geosphere below the ground surface, hydrosphere where water is located, and atmosphere is a. So there is an interaction between all these things. This interaction, what we call it as hydrologic cycle. Okay, so we know without the presence of radiation, I'm not going to have evaporation, evapotranspiration. With this evaporation and evapotranspiration, the water clouds formation takes place, and different types of clouds are there, different types of rain is there. I think all of you would have studied this a little bit, and if these are some general informations which you should be knowing. Okay, so with this type of precipitation, we classify heavy, intense, less precipitation, like that. So based on that only we come to floods. Okay, so this is what is hydrologic cycle, and this shows your complete cycle. So these are all the processes which happens in the hydrologic cycle. Okay, so the precipitation occurs, it just flows, you call it a stream flow, it comes to river, once again evaporation takes place, and if this cycle is not completed, we are facing trouble, and it should be completed in a proper way. That is a problem. So that is why we are saying I should go for more plantations. Okay, more trees should be grown. Why? Because of you have to increase the evapotranspiration. Okay, so and why there is lot of change in the monsoon, we many reports have come till now. There are a lot of changes in Western Ghats which is taking place continuously. Okay, so the type of forest what you have, previously we had evergreen forest, and now slowly we are shifting it into plantations or something like that. This small change causes a lot of change in monsoon. Okay, so these are all some things what we don't know, but it's happening around us. So this is what is hydrologic cycle, and this I have just for the information of the students to understand what is the processes taking place on the surface, below the ground surface. So each and every term is very important when you want to study water management. Okay, and there is a lot of interaction between the surface and the groundwater, which still people are working on. Okay. Yes, projects what I'm going to discuss, all these softwares, HEC, HMS, HECRAS, ArcGIS. So except ArcGIS, all those things are other, this you have to purchase, and these are all add-on tools that you can download and we can install it along with your ArcGIS. Okay, now this flood, first I'm dealing with the flood, then let us go to the drought. It's a sudden violent flood. That's what we are worried about. Okay, so suddenly we are not expecting it. Then and only we come into the issues and problems, how to tackle it or something like that. Okay, so there is a sudden increase in water, and here we used to normally study what is the time of concentration, how much rainfall falls, and what is the time it will take to reach a downstream point in the plains. If the time of concentration is too less, you are going to land upon this flood, the rising of the water body on either side of the river or water body on a dry land. When it occupies, you call it as flood, and these flash floods normally occur due to these reasons: heavy rain, snow melting, and dam breaking. So we are facing all these things. Okay, of course we have not seen this dam breaking, but there is a possibility is there in certain cases. And snow melting, we are looking at it, and heavy rain. This is in South India, most of the cases it is due to heavy rain. Okay, I'm just going into the case studies. Now I have got 3 case studies related to flood. In that case, first I'm taking Chennai, and this is what you are seeing here is Adayar Basin, the red color one, and this is the river line. Whenever you are making any hydrological study, you are supposed to understand what is the catchment area for that particular river. If you see, this red line denotes the catchment area. Okay, maybe the river is flowing only here, but where do I get water from? So for that, we do this catchment delineation. So this is how we have identified this. Okay, and it has experienced floods when we were making the study in 2018 up to 2005, 2008, and 2015. Three events were there. What we have listed down here. Okay. And this is what I was telling. So when you want to make a study, you have to understand the situation, how it is. So normally any hydrologist, they will work on this frequency. Okay, 2 years once how situation is looking like, 5 years once, 10 years once, and the abnormal things we expect 100 years once. So all of you would have heard, if you get a rain, you will tell the recent flood in Kerala in 2018. They were telling such a rain was there in 1920. After that, we see this rain. So like that, you can calculate your frequency. So this is a graph which shows you what is your after if you every 2 years if you get a flood, what will be the maximum flow. Okay, that is what is this type of graphs. And this return period is otherwise called as recurrence interval or frequency. Okay, so this you can do it using statistical analysis. I'm not going in depth in the theory part of it. Okay, so this is a normal calculation what you have to do, taking 30 years of data. In any hydrological study, we will take 30 years of data so that the representation is correct. Okay, below that, if you take, it's not going to be a correct data. Okay, an average value should be there. So based on that periods and draw this graph, you can see in 2 years I may be getting maximum this like that. Okay, and this what you see here is the inundation map for various return periods. There is a slide, I think some slide. This is for 100 years, and this is for 5 years and 10 years, and this is for 2 years, and this is for 100 years. That name is missing at the bottom. HECRAS software. Okay, HECRAS software. What you have to give us, you should be knowing that it is very important. We know we can simulate your flow under two conditions. One is hydrologic flow, and another one is hydraulic flow. Hydrologic flow means quantity, runoff, all those things it comes. You know what is the velocity, cross section, discharge, all those things. Okay, you need finer details. So with such a system, one of our student, he attempted to study this. When I just want to talk about this Idiki, there is a decrease, but still why we are facing trouble. Okay, so here comes your management issues. This is month-wise. When we take Kerala, for a river, you have to take care of this HECRAS modeling or something like that. Okay, so the modeling tool, what we are going to use, it depends on your objective. You have to calculate both on, you have to decide based on your objective. And this is what I was telling about topographic wetness index. And this is calculated based on the catchment area and based on the slope. So what is wetness index is, we have a term called as antecedent moisture condition. If I have rainfall today, how many days I had rainfall? 3 days before, 4 days before. There is a lot of difference. I think everybody understands what is infiltration. So today just I have started, the rainfall has started, infiltration will be very less. But if it is for 3 days, 4 days continuous, the infiltration rate comes down because of saturation effect. So this is what is considered in wetness index. The mass of the soil increases, ozone increases with the wetness, and this causes a landslide. So we were just calculating this. You can see here. So most of the area there is a high wetness index in case of this district, Idiki district, and this is Alapi and Kottayam. And Kozhikode, you can see still high. It is only little bit less because it is almost on the coastal area. But this is a hilly place where you have more. And Malappuram, you can see here and all your wetness index is very high, whereas it comes down when it comes to the plains. And again, inundated area for each of the districts were calculated using this NDWI. You can see the percentage of the district, how much it was under submergence. Malappuram was the highest one, where maximum submergence were there, and they had a lot of houses, a lot of properties getting damaged because of that. This is another study where we were studying about the low-lying area of Kerala. This is Kudanad area, and they cultivate rice here. with the stagnated water, you just cultivate the rice, and this is the lowest elevation. So we have 3 river basins contributing to this particular place. Okay, so again, I want to tell the students and all everybody that when you want to do a study, please understand the hydrological conditions there. Then only your study will be an appropriate one. So for Kuttanadu, we have 3 river basins, Achankoil, Pamba, and Manimala. So all this contributes for this particular place. And you can see the variations in land use. Another most important aspect is land use variation. With more increase in imperviousness, your flood is going to increase. Okay, so that's what we were seeing in Chennai also, and most of us are familiar in terms of birds. But when you come to a scientific study, you will understand what is really happening there. Which area has been permeable, which has become impermeable, like that. Okay, so we were studying what is the impact of land use. For every 2 years, we have taken what is the impact, and then the digital elevation model. This is again what I can say is you can download it. Digital elevation model is the one which gives you elevation at different points. You know what is your topo sheet. You can draw contours. At any point, I will know what is the elevation level. Such a thing happens in your digital elevation model. It will come as a raster, and each cell will have an elevation value. Based on that, you can calculate what is the direction of flow. How, if I just put one particle here, in what direction it will move, that you can understand. Okay, that is flow direction. Based on that, you can identify your catchments. So your catchments, you'll have so small catchments like this. This is based on flow lines, and then you identify the soil type, hydrological soil group, and then you give a curve number. This is what I can say is based on land use and soil, you fix a number, whether it is going to be impermeable or permeable, like that. If you see water bodies almost with water, it cannot take more water, and built-up land is having high number, it cannot take up water. So only thing is vegetation and paddy field. So as impermeability increases, your curve number will be increasing. Based on that only you will calculate the runoff. So this is what the rainfall in this Kuttanad area. Based on the rainfall, the discharge values were calculated. Day-wise, hourly, it was calculated. You can see the variations. So this is what it gives you, what is a real-time study. In a stream, every hour it happens, what are the changes take place. When it is a flash flood, how it changes. Within 2 hours, what will happen. So like that you can estimate. Okay. Okay. So with that, I'm just closing this flood mapping. We'll go to drought. A drought is rainfall deficiency because of rainfall pattern change. This is very important word. And we know spatial distribution of water is there as well as temporal distribution of water is there. That means I have during monsoon time heavy flood, and the 3 months, 4 months I have heavy rainfall. What about my remaining period? I don't have any rain. Rain is not distributed. Then comes your situation drought. Your rivers and streams dry up. We call the streams as ephemeral. Most of the parts of the period of the year, it becomes dry. And here for drought mapping, we need to study the temperature of the surface. So you can calculate your land surface temperature like this, based on again a satellite image. So you have to download your image and combine it and make it into your own study area. And you can see here, so the variation in temperature is 12.5 to 36.98. Okay, water bodies, all this gives us very less temperature, and as you go on, these are all the places with high temperature. And this is for as the temperature changes, NDVI is also going to change. Yes. Okay. Okay. So NDVI has been generated. Now this is what I was telling. So you will get all these bands when you go to your particular site. You can download your bands which you are in need and use those bands to generate the indices. So for Landsat 45, these are all different sensors. Based on the sensors, you identify the bands and start calculating NDVI. Okay. So this is how we classify 0.6 to 1 dense So if it's a forest area, it will come to 0.6 to 1. And if it is a shrubland and grassland, it will come to 0.2, 0.5. Okay. So this is building index, NDBI. We use band 6 and band 5. And this is for Chennai. Okay. This is NDWI, I told you already. Okay. And I just take, you can study your temperature increase or decrease with respect to vegetation. That also shows what is your condition of drought in a particular district or location. This is a part of the basin what we have taken. It is Noyal River Basin, which is situated in Coimbatore. In the upper part of the basin, we just wanted to understand what is the changes taking place in vegetation. Okay, so this is a highly agricultural area where people were more intensive agriculture is taking place. So this is a procedure what you can use for calculating land surface temperature. So this T10 gives you your brightness temperature, and you have to use here and calculate 10 is land surface temperature corresponding to band 10 of vegetation, all those things. Okay. And this is again the procedure of calculating vegetation condition index. So NDVI was explaining to you, based on NDVI, what is the condition of your vegetation? It is healthy or it is not healthy. It is under stress, like that. Again, temperature condition of the vegetation also can be studied. Okay, so you know what is irrigation scheduling, all those things, moisture index. Okay, so that also we can use like this. And this is a health index, directly tells you what is the condition of the vegetation. It's high chlorophyll content is there, less chlorophyll content is there. You can identify based on this. And this is how you categorize your drought. Okay, these are some of the images what we have generated for this basin. As I was telling, this is part of the basin. The land surface temperature, you can see it's 22.54 to 50.2. These are all the hilly areas where your temperature is very less, and this is your Coimbatore portion. Coimbatore, it's nearer to airport, the high temperature, and still if I go towards Tirupur and all, temperature increases. Okay, this is a vegetation index. You can see up to 0.55 I'm going. So this area is just nearer to the river, Noyal River. You can see the vegetation. Okay, this is water supplying vegetation index. How much your water is consumed by the vegetation, that you can see, that you can understand. This is based on evapotranspiration. This is what I was telling, the vegetation condition of the your plant. Okay, whether it is healthy or not healthy, based on this number you can identify. And this is a vegetation healthy indexes for various periods, May and 2016 and 17. If we compare this, 16 and 17 has better vegetation when I compare to 14 and 15. This might be due to availability of water or temperature, like that you can understand. And again, this has to be superimposed over administrative unit and it has to be studied. Okay, so these are the various indices for various years, and we just try to identify the maximum and minimum. As I was telling, I can see good NDVI maximum is there in 0.55. When I go to 2017, it is 0.52. That represents the density of the vegetation. It has gone down. So like that, you can infer 99.96. 90 temperature index increases, and the healthiness of the vegetation has decreased. Like this, you can understand what is happening in your watershed. So I think with this, I am summarizing what is that we have been discussing. So first of all, you have to identify your problem and whether actually, so as I was telling, GIS is a vast area. We can study anything using GIS. I'm going to calculate the changes in water spread area, change in water quality, like that. You can identify the problem and choose the method of mapping. The same flood mapping, you can. Yeah, I was telling, different tools have to be applied. If it is an administrative area, how it has to be done. Sometimes the department, they will ask, I want only the administrative unit to cover it. Then you have to choose NDWI. Okay, similarly for the drought also. But when it comes to departments like irrigation or river basin study, water resources department, they will take in a different aspect. Then you have to go for hydrological methods or hydraulic methods. Okay, so another thing is any work has to be done related to water resources or environment. Understanding the study area is very important. We have to go to the field, understand what is happening, what are the changes, and what are the impacts. Without that, if you complete your study, it's not going to have an impact on the results. Will not be that much what I can say representative of your study, and you can have your own remedial measures and future suggestions. So I would like to state that certain states, for example, again I will take Kerala. They have different disaster preparedness management board itself is there. So when they come for flood, since they have experienced recently floods, so they know what is the extent of level of the flood and which district will have maximum this much quantity of flood, and they've got a network of people that they can inform them. Okay, this is the quantity of rainfall, the flood will come up to this level, you can be prepared, like that. Such a warning system should be available in each of these states. And so that up to that we have to work. The accuracy is more important in such a case. And with this, I just close. You have any queries, please raise. Thank you. You can always contact me in this mail IDs.
So thank you so much, ma'am. The session was very informative and very useful to all.
Yes.
So participants, any doubts or clarification, please unmute yourself and ask to ma'am, or post your queries in chat box.
You can always ask about satellite imageries, softwares. I'm ready to tell you that also. A lot of new areas are coming. Utility mapping, okay? So drainage network mapping. Now this 24/7 water supply network has come. So they have started working on drainage mapping and how for 24 hours, how to supply water. This is also related to GIS only. Any spatial change, when you want to understand, you can take GIS very easily. Previously, we were studying for geology, different aspects. Now it has come to what I can say utility purpose itself, direct application to the field. Yes. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Whether we can find the crop development in particular area.
Yes, stages of the crop, I think you are asking. Then you have to take, then you have to take satellite images in different stages. Again, in the website itself, you can just go through and you can give your area and they will send you this NDVI. NDVI means that gives you changes in vegetation. So every month or something, you will start receiving the data. For example, I started my cultivation in the month of June. Up to October, I can understand what are the changes taking place. One is the color changes and another one is density. That information, you can do it very well. Yes.
Thank you.
Frequent imageries have to be taken.
So participants, any queries, please ask me to ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Good morning, ma'am. This is Ramesh from AB. Different vegetation index, ma'am.
I could
List
not
out the
get
different vegetation index. Which one is better than?
different vegetation index means we have NDVI. NDVI is generally to know what is the extent of vegetation. We have, as I was telling you, vegetation health index. You have a particular vegetation there. Well, might be it's maize or something like that or rice. So for that field alone, you can take your vegetation health index. Again, we have mangrove mapping, for example, only mangroves. We have got an
This is one of the hyperspectral vegetation index, ma'am.
yes, hyperspectral
vegetation
yes.
index. In hyperspectral vegetation index, there are a lot of indexes. Which one is better, ma'am?
No, sir, that's what it depends on your objective. If you want to go for mangrove mapping, you have to take mangrove specific index mapping. And if you are in an irrigation system, you are studying an irrigation area, then you have to go for vegetation health index. You are in a wasteland development area, then you have to take only NDV, that will be sufficient. So that depends on your objective. Lot of indices are available. So, okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Based on the purpose, it has to be identified.
Morning, ma'am.
Yes.
Good
Good morning.
Mention that predict the pollution, ma'am.
Pollution, you can study water quality very well. Surface water quality, you cannot study groundwater quality. Microwave remote sensing is there, but we have not come up to that level to understand below the ground surface. So surface water quality, now studies are going on where we find out the turbidity changes likewise. Now, of course, you have to do with some lab sampling, but you can do. You can understand some major parameters you can understand. pH, turbidity, not all parameters. So for all parameters, research is going on. Spectral reflectance have to be obtained, and for that you have to work a little bit. But there is a possibility of doing it. You can do it very well.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah.
Myself, Dr. Dhamesh Ligade from Waltham College, Sholopur. What will be the role of the satellite imagery in blood and drought mapping?
I'm not
And
getting your
second
question.
question is,
No, first question itself I didn't get. Please, can you repeat it once again? Satellite imagery.
what will be the role of the satellite images in flood and drought mapping?
Drought mapping. Is it drought mapping?
Yeah. Flood and drought mapping. What will be the role of the satellite?
Okay. That shows you. That shows you the real time situation. If you take before flood, I have taken my water spread area will be less, and immediately just after the flood, you take a satellite image. You can see the changes in water spread area very well. Increase in water spread area, that is flood. And again, drought based on the soil reflection, soil moisture. So you can see, understand what is the moisture content present in the soil. Okay, so if it is a monsoon season, the soil moisture will be high. If it is a dry season, the soil moisture will be different. You will be able to differentiate based on that spectral reflectance. We have given a term called as top of atmosphere reflectance. That will give you the changes. You can understand from that. Okay, I have answered your question.
Ma'am,